So I've never told anyone this before, but I nearly quit trading. I genuinely nearly quit trading. I gave myself one more funded account and said to myself, if I didn't make any more progress on this, then I would quit. Like, actually quit. Say to myself that trading is not for me, maybe this is not the right pursuit, and maybe I should try and find something else and move on with it. Now, the time currently is 3:30 a.m. Not 1 a.m. like our regular talks, but 3:30 a.m. So you know this one's about to hit different, and if you're someone who's struggling with trading right now, thinking you might quit or wondering if you're actually good enough to do it, then this one's gonna hit different, especially for you. But before I talk about what I want to talk about right now, let me tell you the story of exactly when I realized that I had to give myself an ultimatum and give myself one more go at trading before I inevitably either made it or gave up for good. Now, as you guys know, and if you don't know, if you're new to the channel, then I used to work at a law firm. I used to work full-time as a trainee solicitor, day in, day out, working 80 hours a week, basically the grunt of a big major law firm. And I was spending hours and hours doing paperwork and bullshit, mundane tasks. But that's besides the point. One day when I was walking home from work at 6 p.m, it was already dark in the UK. I remember it so vividly, like it was yesterday. One day I was walking home, and I was trading on my phone walking home because I hadn't been able to trade during the day because I'd been in meetings and all that sort of thing, and I wasn't able to trade. So on the walk home, I thought, you know what, let me look at the charts. And what inevitably happened was I got into a spiral. I was taking positions left, right, and center, getting into stupid trades on pairs I've never even traded before. And by the time I'd got to my flat in Leeds, which was around a 15-minute walk from where I worked, I'd blown two 50k funded accounts. Not only had I blown them, I'd blown the first 50k funded account, and then I'd gone onto Alpha Capital's website, bought another one, and blown that by the time I was home. And when I say I'd bought another one as well, it's not like I was buying this with money that I had to lose. I was buying it with a credit card, buying it with debt, money that I couldn't really afford to pay back, but something inside me made me do this, and my emotions went crazy and I began to spiral. And this was one of the moments in trading where I realized, right, you got to pack it in right now. Either you're going to be serious about this and either you're going to actually try and do something with this trading shit, or realistically, that's going to be it, right? It's going to be it for you. And the worst part wasn't even blowing the accounts, it was the aftermath. Now, normally when I used to get home, I'd do loads of work, or I'd learn trading, or I'd try and work on some sort of thing to try and help me escape the situation that I was in, but I couldn't even do that. I literally sat there for hours and hours and hours in my bathroom, then in my bed, like on my bedroom, and on my sofa, moving around the flat, walking around, just distraught. I just did not know what to do with myself. $100,000 in funding gone. And it was heartbreaking. It was truly heartbreaking because it was money I didn't have, and essentially I thought I knew what I was doing. I thought I had learned trading. I'd spent months and months and months, like I said, after work, getting home, watching YouTube videos, learning strategy, back testing, forward testing, collecting data, all of these sorts of things, right? And inevitably what had happened is I was no further along the journey than when I started. Now, I had the journal, I had the strategy, or I thought I had the strategy, I had every single thing I thought I needed, and yet I'd still blown $100,000 in funding accounts. Now, why is that? Why had that happened? And then I realized the real question, and the real question wasn't, do I know my strategy well enough? It was, why can't I execute on what I know how to do? Why, no matter how much education I put into this or how much learning, can I not execute on exactly what I'm trying to achieve? Because at the end of the day, I was disciplined, or I thought I was disciplined, and I thought I'd done the right thing to be able to implement exactly what I needed to learn, but at the end of the day, it just wasn't playing out. Now, this is the problem that most traders never ask themselves. This is the question most traders never ask themselves. Normally, they blame the prop firm, they blame the market, they blame some external factor, but in reality, all that is doing is skirting around the fact, which is the problem wasn't the prop firm, it wasn't my strategy, it was me. And if you're having the same situation, and if when I'm talking to you about this, you're relating like crazy, then the problem is most likely you. And once you realize that, that's the first step. They always say the first step is realizing you've got a problem, right? And trading is no different. Once you've realized this, then that's a good thing. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is the lies that you're telling yourself that actually are keeping you from profitability, because you know your strategy, you know what you need to do, you know you need to be disciplined, not take FOMO trades, but there's specific lies that you're telling yourself that are stopping you from actually becoming profitable, and they're just keeping you from exactly where you need to be, keeping you from the money. And if you can realize what they are, maybe you'll start to realize what you're doing wrong and what's actually keeping you from actually becoming profitable and achieving your goals. And the first lie you've been telling yourself over and over and over is that you need more screen time. You need more time on the charts. You need more time learning, back testing, forward testing, trading itself. Maybe you're telling yourself that, oh, if I didn't have my 9 to 5, I'd be profitable by now because I'd be able to focus during a New York session. But this is all an excuse. Screen time does not correlate to trading profitability. In fact, I would argue that it's inversely correlated. When I began to actually go ahead and stop myself from spending too much time on the charts and stop myself from obsessing over the trading was actually when I became profitable, and actually when I started to see meaningful results. And in reality, there's only bad things that can come from more screen time. There's only bad things that end up happening when you spend too much time on the charts. Realistically, you only need to be trading for a couple of hours a day. I do the exact same thing now. I trade from the start of New York session to the end of New York session, and that's pretty much it. I don't even trade London anymore, because the more time you spend on the charts is actually not more ability for you to get setups. It's more ability for you to take bad trades, for you to take B setups, C setups, when in reality, you don't need to be doing that, right? You don't need to be taking more setups to become more profitable. In fact, I'll give you a prime example of this. The past month has been the best month of my trading career ever, but I've had an average of 2 trades per week. Now, a couple of quarters ago, or let's say even last year, I was averaging 5, 6, 7 trades a week, but I was making probably 1/10 of the money that I am now. And the reason that is because purely I've started to understand what trading really means. I've started to understand that selectivity in trading and being able to actually control your mind enough to say to yourself, nah, you don't need to be taking 1,000 positions right now, and just to wait for the A+ setups and to identify them and then take them is going to result in way more money, way more money, to the point where you're going to be starting to think, why have I not done this earlier? Why did I not decide to take these online people's words earlier and actually put it into practice? Because essentially everyone will tell you this, but no one is actually putting it into practice, right? Even the people online that tell you to do it, I guarantee they take more trades than me. I'm the only person that's online not taking infinite trades, because these online gurus, the streamers, the Instagram traders, they all know the more trades they take, the more clicks they get, the more mentorships they sell. But I've streamed for the past 2 and a bit years, and we've only taken something like 150 trades in 2 and a bit years on stream. If I was trying to do this for the views, I would be taking trades every single day, because I wouldn't care if I win or lose, if you guys win or lose. But I'm a trader first, right? And I know the importance of not taking too many setups. There's literally no reason for you to be doing it. And the next lie you're telling yourself is that I'll be profitable if I had this much capital, or if I could afford this many funded accounts, or if I could deposit 50k into a live account, I'd be profitable. I'd trade differently. Let me know if this resonates to you. You deposit to a small brokerage account, or you buy a small prop firm account, and you start to over risk because you think, oh, it's a small account, I need to make profit, I need to over risk. So now on your $1,000 account, you start to risk $100 a trade, which is 10%. If you go on a 10 trade losing streak, you've lost the entire account. And why the hell would you do that? You tell yourself that, oh, when I get to a bigger amount of capital, when I get to 5k in my account or 10k in my account, I'm going to drop it down and do 1% risk. But tell me how that makes any sense. You're telling me that you want to achieve your goal and then you're going to start trading properly. You want to achieve your goal and then you're going to risk the appropriate amount. I've never heard of any industry or anything in life where that makes sense. Yeah, actually, I'm going to pass my driving test and then I'll take driving lessons. Sure, makes sense, bro. You need to be trading right now as if you were trading $1 million in capital like I am. Alright, do you think when I was trading my $50 funded accounts, or 50 K funded accounts after I became profitable. And when I actually realized this, after I had these stupid errors where I was blowing hundreds of accounts that I was risking 10%. Or do you think the reason I became profitable was by, I'm going to over leverage until I can make enough money in my live account to get to the point where I had a 6-figure live account? Or did I take a couple of years risking 1% and 2% a trade on my live account, making $20, $40, $60, $80 per trade, and then scaling it up and up and up to the point where now a winning trade on my live account is more like 5K. But I didn't do it the other way around. I didn't try and risk 5K straight away and then now drop the risk down now that I got to a 6-figure live account, because that would make absolutely no sense, and it's just a lie. You're purely telling yourself a lie to try and cope yourself into thinking you can do it faster, thinking you're better than everyone else. And that brings me on to the next lie that you've been telling yourself, brother, that you need to escape. Now trust me, I'm someone who tells themselves they're better than everyone else, and I purely believe I'm better than everyone else on the planet at trading, at everything I do. And that may be a good thing, that may be a bad thing, but when it comes to this specific thing, it is going to be a bad thing with you. Just because you think you're better than everyone else, just because you think you're different, you can do it a different way, doesn't mean that the trading rules and the trading things, the main trading principles don't apply to you. Doesn't mean you can't blow accounts by revenge trading. It doesn't mean you're incapable of falling victim to emotions. It doesn't mean you're incapable of over risking and losing accounts, because you will do that. You have to humble yourself as a trader. This is the third lie. You need to stop believing that you can do it differently. Stop believing that you are different to everyone else and that you don't need to follow the rules. You don't need to risk this amount. You don't need to stick to your A+ setups. Your intuition's good enough, right? No, it's not. Alright, it's not. If anyone's intuition was good enough, it would be mine, right? My intuition alone is not good enough. Even I don't take trades purely off of intuition. I let my intuition make some sway in my decision making, but it's all based on strategy, previous trades that I've taken, my experience in the market. You don't have enough experience in the market to be trading with intuition, but you think that you're good enough because you can do it differently, right? When in reality that makes absolutely zero sense. If you are going to make it in trading, you need to do it properly. You need to do it properly from day one, and that is going to consist of purely sticking to your rules, doing everything the right way, risking 1%, staying patient, staying profitable, taking only A+ setups, and being patient, right? The journey's not going to take a month. It's not going to take a couple of weeks. You see traders like me get to $1 million in funding in 2 weeks, and you think you can do the same, but I'm going to be honest with you, bro. I can afford to blow 5K in challenge fees right now. Can you? If you can, then great, do it. You'll get to $1 million funding most likely if you know how to trade. Well, we'll see. But if you can afford to do that, then great. But if you can't currently afford to do that, what's the point in spending money on more challenge fees or depositing to your live account even more when in reality you know you're just going to blow that money, right? Be patient. Let the trading process play out. And that's when you start to see very consistent results, right? That's when you're going to start to see the profits coming in, the consistency coming in, the emotions disappearing. And that's the only way you're actually going to go ahead and do it. And this is the mindset shift that I had to make before I became profitable. Because I was just like you, I had the exact same thinking. I had the same ego, I had the same aptitude towards taking shortcuts. I've always wanted to take shortcuts my entire life. I've always wanted to cheat on the exams. I cheated on the school marathon when I was a kid because I didn't want to run it. All of these sort of things, right? I've always wanted to take a shortcut, and unfortunately in trading I realized that this did not work, and this was the mindset shift that I had to make. You might be thinking, well, yeah, you've told me the lies that I'm telling myself. How do I get out of it? Well, this is how you get out of it. Start focusing on the process, not the profits. Stop trying to take shortcuts. Stop trying to cheat the system. Because at the end of the day, trading is a reflection of you. It's a reflection of the universe. It's a reflection of God's creation, right? At the end of the day, karma or whatever you want to call it is going to find you. If you cheat the system, it's going to cheat you back. It's going to cheat you out of profits that you think you deserve. It's going to trick you into losses. There is no way to trick the system. There's no cheat code. There's no hack. You have to do everything by the book. You have to let it play out. You have to trust the process. And I know it sounds boring. Because trust me, I find it boring too. I don't want to do everything by the book. If there was a cheat code, trust me, I would have taken it by now. I would have taken any shortcut I could to get to making what I am right now 2 years ago, or making triple what I am right now this second. I would do it, but there isn't. So trust the process, let the process play out, and then the money follows the process, right? The money follows the process. Once you start to implement the process, put that in place, the money will quickly follow, and it gets to the point where you just get used to just doing the process day in, day out, and seeing no results, and then suddenly the results are coming, the money's flowing in, and you think, whoa, how did I even get here? It catches up on you very quickly. So what actually changed after blowing those accounts? After realizing maybe I was lying to myself, after realizing that I was letting my ego get in the way, and after I had the realization of I was going down the wrong path with trading, what actually changed? What did I do in order to fix it? Well, it was very simple. It was very simple. Like I told you, my ego was killing me, but also in terms of trading, my ego was killing me. Every single loss that I took, I was taking it personally. I was taking it as a reflection of myself and that I wasn't good enough, or maybe the market had cheated me and I'd get angry and I'd want revenge, which would be making the money back. So what did I do to fix this? What did I do to go ahead and actually take that feeling of emotional attachment towards my trading away? Because if you are right now someone who relates to their trades, and when they take a loss they get annoyed, and it seems like a reflection of themselves, and that they're a bad trader or a bad person or not smart enough, how do you disassociate that? Because in reality, this is something you need to get rid of, right? The way you do it is you shift the blame onto the market. You shift the blame onto the market and you say, as long as I'm taking an A+ setup, as long as all my confluences are aligned, as long as everything is going my way, the market was wrong, not me. And you shift the blame onto the market, you shift the blame onto external factors, and that means that now, whenever you take a loss, as long as you've done everything right, you've risked the appropriate amount, you've stuck to your plan, you've done everything you need to do in terms of confluences, then you can't be wrong. Maybe you lose a trade, but maybe that was just your statistics playing out. Maybe that was your 1 in every 5 losses you need to take, right? Maybe that was just the market being wrong on that day, and that way you detach your emotions and you detach your own self-worth from your trading, and that's when you start to see serious profits. And that's exactly what I did. I started to see trading as more of a process. I started to see losses as a learning experience, and I started to see each individual trade as just a data point playing out, over and over and over. So a loss would be, I've got an 80% win rate system, right? That means I need to lose 1 in every 5 trades. All right, I just lost 1, cool. Next 4 are going to be winners. If they're not, then over the next 50 trades, those losses are going to be averaged out anyway, so I'm not worried about it whatsoever, right? And this was the next thing I did, right? When I was blowing all these accounts, when I was struggling with my psychology, when I was failing every single day as a trader, when I was literally about to give up, I had no structure, I had no guidelines, I had no rules, I had nothing to keep me accountable other than my own discipline, my own motivation, right? Which, as we know, motivation and discipline both can disappear, or they can be higher one day and they essentially fluctuate. And essentially all I would be doing is, I think I should probably risk this much on this trade, or I think this looks valid, I think this is a good setup, it seems like it might go up. I had no rules, no guidelines, no criteria. And what that meant is I was essentially at the mercy of my own mindset every single day. I could come to the charts. Maybe today I'm feeling a bit more risk averse and I risk less, but maybe I'm more bullish one day randomly and I decide to risk 3% rather than 1%. And you can see where this is going. I know you feel the exact same way. You have no structure in your trading. You have nothing that is stopping you and telling you exactly what you need to be doing in the charts, because realistically, you have no structure, you have no guideline, you have nothing keeping you accountable, nothing holding you to the point where, oh, I know exactly what to do right now, and I know exactly what's going to be the best decision and exactly what's going to make me the most money, right? And essentially, the way you're trading right now is just far too intuitive, it's far too subjective. There is nothing objective, nothing clear-cut about your trading, which essentially means every single day your system is going to change, your profitability is going to change, and obviously that means that your outcome is just pure random. And we want to make this outcome not random, right? We want to make it a certainty that you're going to become profitable. So what change did I make? What did I do in order to actually ensure that I became profitable, ensure I got to where I am right now? Because I promise you it wasn't luck. At a certain point, there was no more luck involved. Maybe a few trades went lucky in my direction, but in terms of the outcome, there was no more luck involved. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and say that night after I blew those 100k fundeds, I sat there and I did this, and I wrote down these rules and all this. I didn't do that. I just kind of was upset for a night, and it wasn't good. But a couple of days later, maybe a week later, not long after that event, I sat down and I gave myself a clear rule book, a clear guideline of exactly what I needed to see, exactly what I needed to do. I gave myself rules written down on paper, and I tell this to all my students, but I wrote them down on paper and I stuck them in front of me on my desk on the wall right here in front of me where I would sit and trade. And those rules were very simple trading rules, you know, the basic stuff. It doesn't have to be complicated. 1% risk, 1 trade a day, 1 loss and you're done. All of these sort of things. Only trade during specific trading hours. Now, your rules are going to be different to mine, but I really recommend you do the same. In fact, I'm forcing you to. After this video or during this video, in fact, comment your rules down below. Comment exactly what trading rules you now follow and why you're following them. And I want to see it, and I'll give you some critique in the comments, right? I'll give you an evaluation of your trading rules. But what I also did as well was wrote down exactly what I needed to be required to enter a trade, all of my confluences, all of the setups that I was trading, all of the entry criteria that I had. Now, the way I traded was definitely different to the way I trade now, because my trading has evolved, and I'll make another video on that soon. But the point I'm trying to make is, I wrote down everything, and my trading now became objective rather than subjective. It became easy to follow rules, because at that point as well, now you're not following your own discipline every day. There's no need to be disciplined, to be motivated. It all comes down to, what is my rule book telling me to do? And when there's a piece of paper on the wall telling you, essentially like a rule book, you know, you're an NPC, right? You know how to follow rules. No, I'm joking, but you know how to follow rules. You've been doing it, you've been bred to do it your entire life. So give yourself some rules that are actually going to be productive for you and actually going to help you, rather than rules that just hinder you and actually don't help you at all, right? And this is the thing as well. You know, after I did all of these things and after I implemented all of these changes to my trading, some guru would probably tell you that from that point onwards I became profitable and I did this and I did that. No, I still broke the rules. The first couple of months trading with these rules were extremely difficult. The first couple of months trading to the point where I was trying to be extremely objective and extremely disciplined and follow this set of rules were hard, and I would break them now and again, and that's a normal part of trading. We're only human, right? We are purely only human. But that's a part of the game. That's exactly what you need to realize, that you are only human. Everyone tries to pile on all these rules and all these changes immediately and try and implement something that's actually not going to happen. You know, you're not going to essentially become perfect overnight. You're not going to stop over risking. You're not going to stop doing these mistakes, right? But if you can get a little bit better each and every single day, then that is when you are going to elevate yourself as a trader, and that's when your skill level becomes exponential and you just get better and better and better every single day. And now 1% of your trading skill added every single day becomes a massive gain and a massive gain, and now you're getting payouts and the snowball effect takes place, right? You don't need to do it all at once, but as long as you're making positive progress towards where you want to be, then that's all that matters. So also don't pile on too much pressure to yourself to the point where you need to become perfect and fix everything in one day, because as we've seen with people that do crash diets or try and eat super healthy from day one, cut out all bad food, sugar, whatever it may be, they always fail because it's too much to change at one go. So take it slowly, and I promise you, you're going to get there, alright? But the problem is you're at a fork in the road. You're at a point in time where you need to make a decision, and it all comes down to what you do within the next 24 hours. After you watch this video, you can either go down path 1 or path 2. Now if you go down path 1, that's going to be very simple. Keep jumping between strategies, keep trading without rules, inconsistent results, and essentially just applying the hopes and dreams strategy, hoping you make it, dreaming towards becoming profitable one day, dreaming towards $100,000 in payouts like I've done. Or you take path 2 and you go away after this video and you write a consistent rule book down, you write a rule book of stuff you need to do, you become disciplined, you start to implement the right decisions, create a system that's going to be long-term profitable for you, and essentially you stop focusing on education, and you start implementing the things that you need and you know you need to be doing every single day. And if you take path 2, the path of discipline, and you try and do everything extremely well, and you try and stick to the plan, and you do exactly what you need to do, it's going to be uncomfortable, I'm not going to lie. And that's why 90% of people are going to pick path 1. Even though they're probably going to watch this video, get motivated for 5-10 minutes, think, yeah, I can do it. They're going to end up picking path 1 because at the end of the day, 99% of people resort to the same old shit, and they just resort to the same old thing, and they can't stick to any sort of routine, any sort of discipline, any sort of strategy or structure because they're just not cut out for it. But brother, I know you're different. I know you can do it, and I know if you pick path 1, you will ask yourself the question that every trader and every person who does anything great in life asks themselves, and that is, are you willing to be uncomfortable for 6 months, 12 months, in order to achieve a lifetime of freedom? Because if you are, then you're going to make it. And look, I know it's not easy. Even if you pick path 2 and you go and stick with it for 6 months, you might not make it. You might not make it because at the end of the day, it's so difficult to do this job alone. In fact, I did it alone, and that's why it took me 5 years to become profitable rather than the 1 or the 6 months that it takes for most of my students. So what I'll do for you is I'll help you along the journey. I will help you along the journey, and in fact, if you are someone who picked path 2, and if you are someone who thinks or knows that they're cut out for this business, that they're cut out to staying disciplined and staying locked in, and you can stick to a strategy and you can do exactly what it's taken to get to this point for me, I want you to click the link in the description because I've just opened up some slots. I'm going to be taking on a few traders and guiding them one-on-one to achieve great things, because I know there's people out there that can do it, but you just need that extra little bit of help. You need someone to tell you where you're going wrong, to point you in the right directions, to stop you from making those mistakes. And that's exactly what I'm providing for you. Accountability, obviously the strategy. I'll be with you step by step, looking over your shoulder. You know, I had a student today try and take a position, and he rang me just before he took the position and said, "Brother, is this a good trade?" And I said, "Why are you taking this position? What are your confluences?" I don't know, bro. I don't know. Oh, okay, well, don't take the trade. Yeah, how's your mental state right now? I don't know, I'm kind of FOMOing because I saw that you got a payout today, and I don't know, the money's kind of motivating me a little bit. Right, stay off the charts, don't take a position for the rest of the day. And guess what? He avoided a stop loss, avoided a blown account, and at the end of the day, it worked well. And this is exactly what I'm offering for you, the ability to essentially skip absolutely all of the struggles that I had to go through alone. Because if I had someone to take me through it again, trust me, I would. I 100% would. And I want you to think about this before I leave you tonight. Where are you going to be in the next 30 days? In the next 60 days? What if you committed yourself to this? What if you committed yourself to the journey, to the grind, to staying consistent, to staying locked in, to giving yourself this plan, this set of rules to avoid the mistakes that I made, to avoid blowing infinite amount of funded accounts, and you actually stayed locked in and you did the right things and you stayed accountable? Where are you going to be in 30 days, in 60 days? The results could be endless. I've had students like Tom in there who just are in their first 70 days of trading, 90 days, something like that, and he's about to request his first payout. There's other students that have been with me a few weeks and they've already had 10Ks in payouts. or students that have just become funded for the first time after struggling for years and years and years. So where do you want to be in the next 60 days? Regardless if you work with me or not, are you going to be able to do the work? Are you going to lock in? Are you going to be someone who can actually dedicate themselves to this craft? It's just some food for thought, brother. Now, if you do want to work with me, I will guarantee you that in the next 60 days, if you join me on this journey and we work on this together, brother, I guarantee that you get funded within the first 60 days. And that is something, if you click the link down below and book a call to talk with me, we'll talk about. I'll guarantee you that you get funded within the first 60 days. And if you decide not to work with me, then brother, even if you stick with it, maybe within the next 6 months or so, you'll be able to do it as well. Just stay focused, stay locked in. I promise you, you can make it. You're cut out for this. I truly believe that. But look, it's now 4 a.m. I need to get some sleep. Take action on what I've told you today. Don't be someone who watches this video, gets motivated for a minute, and then decides to do nothing about it. Be the person who decides to take action, the one who actually makes a change. And I promise you, you're not going to regret it. Future you will be thanking you over and over and over. But listen, if you enjoyed the video and you want more conversations like this with me, make sure to check out the rest of the videos on my channel. Drop a like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.